Rob Woollen, CTO, co-founder of Sigma. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me at Snowflake.
I'm super happy to have you again. We already had an episode where we demoed Sigma Data Path.
Yes, we have two native applications. So we did the first episode on the data path application. Today I'm excited to tell you about our second application, the Python application.
So what's the Sigma Python application?
So we've leveraged Snowflake's platform so that we can actually have a native application where we're extending Sigma to support Python that's run natively within Snowflake containers. That means that you can take and install this native application and the Python runs directly on the warehouse via Snowpark.
That sounds really cool. Now, for those that have not watched the previous episode, what is Sigma?
So Sigma is all about taking the power of Snowflake, the AI and data cloud, and extending it to everyone. So that means that we want to make it easy to build analysis, so build things like dashboards and reports, things you would typically do for reporting. We want to make that as easy as using a spreadsheet. So make that accessible to the billion spreadsheet users. But it's not just analysis. We want to make it so that you can build applications, you can build workflow, you can build forecasting, you can do write back, you can change data. So really run your business on top of Sigma and Snowflake.
Yes, and you say as easy as a spreadsheet, but what I've seen from previous demos, Sigma is sometimes even easier and so much more powerful.
Absolutely. We try to leverage all the power of Snowflake. And so you can work on billions of rows of data. You work on a centralized data environment. The data is governed and secured. And that's part of why we're so focused on releasing these native applications, is to leverage that governance and security.
Yes, and today we're going to focus on adding Python to the experience. How does that work?
So what we have done in our architecture here is made it so that the Python runs within the Snowpark container services as part of installing a native application. And that's important from the security side because it means you get to leverage all of the existing security of the Snowflake environment. It also means you're bringing the Python to the warehouse. Instead of having to extract it and run somewhere else, you're bringing that compute down to the data. So that's important on the technical side, but it's also really important to think about the user side. Why is this important to users? And so it's important to users in Sigma because we've made it so that everyone can work together in one interface. So whether you're a spreadsheet user, a Python user, you're trying to do work in SQL, natural language, and AI, all of that together in one interface where you collaborate, and that's the multimodal experience we're unlocking in Sigma.
So scalable, secure, and easy to use by everyone.
Absolutely. We think one of the key things in the past has been that a lot of these tools have been focused on a particular persona. So data scientists might work in one tool, spreadsheet users are working in another tool, and these people, it's really hard for them to collaborate and work together. We want to make it so that everyone in your company works together in one tool and builds on top of each other's work.
So let's discuss about that evolution of how you're bringing everything together. But before we go there, can we see the demo at work?
Absolutely. Let's jump into the details of the architecture. So if you look at this diagram here, you'll notice we start in the upper right. We've got the browser using Sigma, and that's where the user is going to start. A lot of their work is just going to be traditional working in that interface, which is going to generate SQL, run queries against Snowflake. And you'll see that that path is laid out there already. But what's new here is in the lower left. We're also showing that we are able to integrate Python in this environment. And what's really neat here is the Python's running within those Snowflake container services because it's been installed via the native app. So it runs directly in the customer warehouse. It leverages their security model, and we push all of that compute down to the customer warehouse.
I like it. Pushing compute to the warehouse where the data is. I see that Sigma knows how to talk SQL, but now we're adding Python, and you are noting here your SQL interactions, your notebook socket, when you're reading objects from Snowflake and when you're writing objects to Snowflake.
Yeah, and that's one of the really interesting things about Sigma is it's not just a read-only interface. You can actually build things that are writing back and changing things and actually build out sort of true applications.
Yeah, and you have a native app that's running in Snowpark Container Services.
Absolutely, and so it's all within the environment that the customer has installed there, and they're the one that gets to configure that, and they know that it's part of that secured environment they already trust with Snowflake.
Awesome. Can we see it in action?
Absolutely. So let's jump in. We're in a Sigma workbook here, and you'll see that I have some product sales data from my company. And I've already done the work to take a bunch of these orders. I've grouped them by product name, and I've done some calculations here. I've written some formulas to figure out how many customers ordered each product, what the average order revenue was, the revenue in 2023. But if I want to sort of start getting some ideas about how to analyze these products, working with 1,096 different products, it's a lot for me to hold in my head. And so this is a great time where I might say, I'm going to involve my data science team. You'll notice here that it has my name in the workbook here. Our workbooks are actually multiplayer. You can bring different people into the same workbook. So let's imagine that multiplayer. So let's imagine that I bring in my data science team, and they may want to work in Python. Let's imagine that they're going to build out clustering, and they're going to build out directly in the same interface. So they're going to create a Python element, and that user, since it's running in the warehouse, they're going to choose a connection here and say, this is the Snowflake instance that I want to use. It's where the Python will run. And let me just start with something very, very simple. Let's take some Python code here that is just going to use that first element in the workbook, and I'll run it. And anyone that knows Python is familiar with pandas. And so you'll notice here that we've converted to a pandas data frame, and we've printed it out. And what I want to show you here is just that Python is exactly access to that same data we see above in the workbook.
Mm-hmm. So you have thousands of products, and you want to make sense of it.
Exactly. And I'm working on top of the data that the business users started with. So we want to make that collaboration work really seamlessly. Let's do something a little more interesting than just printing out the data frame, though. Let's go ahead, and we're going to leverage an open source package, Scikit, to do k-means clustering. So I've run that on my Snowpark environment here just by clicking run and pasting the code in. And once I have that clustering that's been run.
So can we see a little bit more of the code? This is sklearn, make a pipeline, standard scaler.
So we started with the data frame in pandas. We created 4 clusters from it. You'll see now we leverage this open source package to actually run the pipeline. And then we're going to fit that pipeline to the samples we have, and then we print out the labeled data at the end. So you see the output in real time.
And that's it. And this was run inside the Snowflake
all
warehouse.
Run via the native application inside the Snowpark container services. Just looking at this output in text is probably not quite what my business user wants. And so that business user is now going to pick up the work from the data science team, and they're going to visualize it. So all they have to do is click this and say, create a visualization from it. In this case, I'm going to create a scatter chart, and I'm going to look at that distinct customers and plot the average revenue against it. But you remember that we did some clustering here, and that clustering came out in that labels column. Now, we now have this nice chart showing these product groups. But you'll notice in the corner here that the product groups are labeled 0, 1, 2, and 3. Now, since I'm the subject matter expert here, the business user, I know little better names for these categories than just 0, 1, 2, and 3. This is a great example of where I can actually bring my own data and write it back to the Snowflake warehouse and integrate it in the workflow here. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy some data I have over here, which is my input on what we should name these things.
So you're looking at the 4 different groups. There are 4 different, very distinct clusters, and this is what you think each group should be called.
Exactly. This is my idea of when I look at that data, I think that 0 should be called core products, 1 economy products, et cetera. And what you'll notice here is when I pasted in that data, behind the scenes what actually happened is we called into Snowflake, we created a table, and we inserted these rows into that table. So all of this data always lives within your Snowflake environment. Again, we're really focused on keeping the data there, keeping the compute there, keeping the security and governance there.
Like magic.
So let's go back to that chart we were looking at here. We have a 0, 1, 2, and 3. Every Excel user will remember the formula VLOOKUP. We're going to do exactly that here. We're going to do a lookup where we replace those 0, 1, 2, and 3 from our little mapping table. And we're going to show the label. Click Done. And we now have a new column, you'll notice, got replaced here. We'll call it Clean Label. So now we have something that I can actually, as a business user, consume. I can see the names all work out. However, I don't want to just stop there. You'll notice when I brought in my data, I also have my own ideas on how much these product groups are going to grow. And so this is a case where I'm trying to do a forecast, right? I'm trying to bring in my own ideas about what I think will happen. And it's another case where I probably want to then involve my data science team and say, okay, I have these ideas about where I want it to forecast, but come into this workbook and work with me, help me do some machine learning and build out a model to actually forecast where these things are going. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to add Python again into this element. And again, I'm going to say I want to run this directly in this warehouse. I'll move over here to my code. And I'm just going to grab a bunch of code here, and we'll walk through it in a second. So as I bring that in, we'll run it. And let's go ahead and talk about this code. So you'll notice first that I start by actually leveraging 2 different data frames from this workbook. So you're not limited to just starting with a single one. I'm creating 10 years of projections. I'm listing those out. I'm merging back in the data frames, looping through the data, and transposing it for a nice output. And again, as a business user, I probably want to actually visualize this. So let's grab that work that the data science team did. Let's plot a bar chart where I look at year. I'm going to look at that revenue that's projected. And I'm going to, again, divide it by those product categories. So we can see here, I've taken the output of the work that my data science team has done. I've now divided it by the different labels from the different clustering, and I've been able to visualize it. Now,
amazing. Until 2033.
Until 2033. We can check back with Plugs Electronics and see how they're doing in 2033. But one last thing I want to show you. Mm-hmm. What's the most fundamental thing in a spreadsheet is to say, what if? What if I want to change my mind about one of the forecast numbers? So I'm a little more pessimistic on the outliers than I was when I first created this data. So I'm going to say, actually, they're going to go down at negative 25%. Oh. And so as simple as typing that number, I'm actually changing data within the warehouse. Now I can rerun this Python block that my data science team built for me. And that's going to then cause my forecast to update. And that will then cause my chart to automatically recalculate here. And we're going to see that outliers are actually even worse than I had originally projected.
And everything is connected together.
Everything is connected together. You can see how small these outlier bars got in here. And that's really the magic of what we've been trying to show throughout this demo. We had work that was done by a spreadsheet user. We had work that we brought in the data science teams into the same multiplayer environment. We had work that could be done by a data science team, all together, all in one environment, all reacting to each other's work.
User input, data in the warehouse, code from our data scientist, and you're making it all work together here.
All working together on top of Sigma and Snowflake, one interface, one governed and secure platform.
This is awesome. Thanks so much for this demo.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about how did you end up here? What's the story of, we know how Sigma started. We discussed that in the previous episode. But how does Python end up showing up and ending up in this demo?
Absolutely. Well, we saw when Snowflake actually brought out their initial Python support in Snowpark services a few years ago, we saw sort of the spark of this. We saw the initial case where we had a lot of people that wanted to write Python in these environments. And then we immediately started adding support for making user-defined functions very accessible in our platform. So we added a feature called custom functions, where anyone, as easy as writing a spreadsheet function, could call into those Python user-defined functions. And so the magic of that was that you had a data science team that in the past, a lot of times struggled to actually get their work exposed to people, to actually make it so business users could leverage their work. We made it so that they could build out all of their work, create a user-defined function, and then anyone in their company that could use a spreadsheet could basically start using any sort of machine learning model. So that was our first big step with Snowflake. Now with the new support for the native app and the container services, we've been able to extend it to, as you've seen, integrate Python directly into our platform, leveraging all these great features from Snowflake.
That's really cool. And how have customers reacted? What have our joint customers told you in this path?
I think for many, many customers, they're super excited about anything where they can really leverage the tools they are familiar with, things like Python, SQL, all of the AI and ML workloads we're seeing today, but they really want to bring those out to the business, right? Everyone in your company wants to leverage AI and ML, and we're building the platform where we're making that possible. So leverage everything we're seeing out of the AI and data cloud and make that accessible to a very broad audience.
Yes, and how do you see this developing in the future?
I'm really excited about data applications. for this industry, we spent a lot of time looking at things in the past where you build reports and dashboards. What we're seeing over the last 3 or 4 years is people starting to say, this is not just the platform I want to run analytics, it's also the platform where I want to run my business, things like the forecast we showed you here, things that are forward-looking, and now increasingly, it's where applications live. And so I love the idea of people, as easy as they could build out these spreadsheets and these reports, to be able to actually build applications and change how their companies work.
We are changing how companies work. That's a great thought. Now, what do you want people to do next? So they saw Sigma at work, beautiful. Now they can bring Python. For everyone watching this episode, what would you like them to do next?
So our Python native application is available on the Snowflake Marketplace today. We'd love to have people contact us there and try out the application today. And we're also on sigmacomputing.com.
For everyone that watched us today, also watch our previous episode where we discuss Sigma data path and more of the Sigma story. Thank you so much, Rob. And thanks for watching. For more Snowflake developer content, go to developers.snowflake.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe.